Hello, it's Doris with Aldi Books, and I am here to do the Arthropod tag. I was tagged by Brian from Bookish, and this tag was originally created by Jack over at the Rambling Raconteur. I will link both of them below. And these questions are particularly well crafted, so I will be reading off of my laptop instead of summarizing them the way I normally do with tags. And I think that's it. Let's just get into it. Oh, there was one more thing. You gonna join me, guy? Oopsie. Oh my gosh, I'm messing up my system here. Sorry. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I have some vloggy bits of my favorite buggy friends that I will add on to the end if you're interested. So, you're being helpful, guy. I can't see my laptop. Number one. Some insects are critical to our global economic ecosystem. I don't know. There are no economics here. Oh, well, there are. You know, the reason we won't accept global warming is because of economics. Anyway, I won't go off on that rant today. I've got a hair. Wow, this is devolving. Let me start over. Some insects are critical to our global ecosystem because they transfer pollen between flowering plants, stimulating biodiversity and the reproduction of these species. What is a book that has pollinated? I can't talk now. Pollinated, not populated, which is what I wanted to say. Pollinated your reading life and helped you restart reading. So, Amy Tan, love me some Amy Tan. She is so good. Oh, and I did one other thing I wanted to say. These questions were really kind of broad and vast. Now I'm crooked. Oh my word. And I was having trouble. Oh, I see. Now. Now we're getting better again. Gosh. Already 2-3 minutes and I haven't said anything. So yeah, the questions were really broad and I was having trouble, like deer in the headlights. How do I answer these questions with all of these books that are surrounding me? So I have gone with a World War II focus for this. So the book that has helped me restart reading, well, this author, Amy Tan, I just really enjoy her books. She always focuses on family dynamics, usually between mothers and daughters, and so good. So this one is her most famous. Excerpts from this are often found in basal readers in, you know, the middle school, high school level. I think she's even taught in college curriculums at times. But this one focuses on 4 women from China who, after World War II, have ended up in San Francisco's Chinatown, and just shows how they settle into their new life in the United States. And it's fabulous. The movie is also fabulous. Yes. Number 2, is there an insect that you find particularly interesting? Yeah, I find them all interesting. My favorites are obviously bees. I love bumblebees. I mean, who doesn't love a flying, fluffy teddy bear? I also love orchid bees, which are teeny tiny, and they're metallic jewel tone colors. So cute. I love butterflies. And I love milkweed beetles, which I have a clip of them at the end, so stay tuned for that, or zoom on to the end if you'd rather. A book that I have found particularly interesting would be, I like horses. So Elizabeth Letts has written The $80 Champion and The Perfect Horse. This one is a man who has immigrated to the United States after World War II. And so this is kind of a little bit about World War II and after the Cold War, and how horses were still prominent but fading out of American society, culturally and economically. And then this one is during World War II, and it's rescuing the Lipizzaner stallions. So, number 3, many arachnids create webs to trap their prey. What is a work that really stuck to you and drew you into its world? So, for that one, I have grabbed In the Land of Armadillos by Helen Marles Shankman. So this is particularly interesting as a World War II narrative. It's interrelated short stories set in a little town in Poland during Nazi occupation. And what I found really interesting about this one is I felt it was really well balanced and showing you the whole picture. So it shows you perspectives of the Nazi commanders in that village, the villagers themselves and how they reacted to the situation, both sides of the fence, so to speak, and some of the Jewish prisoners in the village. So highly recommend that. And this one, this is the hardcover edition. I got it. I wanted it because I collect armadillos. I'm a collector, you know. But this one was reprinted in paperback. It is They Were Like Family to Me. So the title changed to They Were Like Family to Me, if you're interested in that. Number 4, the myriapod millipede derives its name from the belief that it has 1,000 legs, when in reality, most species have fewer than 700 legs. What is a work that had a high page count but felt much shorter as you read it? So, the new Erik Larson, The Splendid and the Vile. Erik Larson is at the top of his game in this book. He hit it out of the ballpark. This is so excellent. And he's another one that's gifted with taking real, actual historical documents and transforming them into a narrative nonfiction piece that is just engrossing and just so good. So good. He highlights themes of class and how who you were economically affected, how the war affected you, obviously. He shows you some really charming aspects of Churchill at the time. You know, Churchill is quite the figure in history. All sorts of things to say about Churchill, but anyway, this is focusing on the first year of Churchill's time in office during World War II. And yeah, like, and he highlights, you know, for obvious reasons, because he's using diaries and journal entries to put together this narrative. And one of them that was especially captivating to me was his son's first wife, who was just, you know, I don't even think she was 20 when she got married, but what a woman. What a woman. And she ended up through this position in society, eventually becoming a U.S. diplomat. So really loved her story in there. But anyway, that is highly recommend. It reads so fast, 500 pages, like that. Where am I? Number 5. The scorpion is an infamous arachnid with a venomous stinger on his tail. What is a work that stung you with its ending? So that would definitely be The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. This, is another World War II story dealing with the Holocaust, and it's not perfect. There were a few clunky scenes, but overall I was really captivated by it. But the thing that stood out to me was the last sentence in this book. So this book is told from the perspective of the angel of death. Yeah. And, if you don't want to be spoiled by the last sentence in this book and you haven't read it, kind of fast forward through the rest of this until I put the book down, because I'm going to read it now. But this is from the perspective of death, the angel of death. And this is what he says. A last note from your narrator. I am haunted by humans. Yeah, that just tore me up when I read it. Ugly sobs. I had to leave my home so that my child would not, be traumatized. Anyway, the next one, where am I? Crustaceans are a diverse subphylum of arthropods that live in water. Name a work that makes you think of the sea. So for that, I'm going with All the Light You Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. I don't have that book on my shelves right now, so I am sharing The Shell Collector by Anthony Doerr. After I read that book, I thought that he would be a really, really excellent short storyteller. His words on a sentence level are so incredibly well crafted, just stunning. It's just sentence after sentence after sentence of stunningness. However, on the novel scale, they kind of got lost because there was just so much packed into this narrative that it kind of got overwhelming. But I really enjoyed this short story collection. I enjoyed the novel as well. But this, and my takeaway from this one, I just remember thinking, it's been a while since I've read it, but I just remember thinking that he wrote women so well and so respectfully. I really appreciated that. But I have a quote from All the Light You Cannot See that just has stuck with me ever since I read it. Anytime I think of the book, I see this visual in my mind. And this is the father and daughter having a conversation one evening. It's kind of like setting the scene here at the end of that conversation. The walls creak, the window between curtains is black. The town prepares to sleep. Somewhere out there, German U-boats glide above underwater canyons. Somewhere out there, German U-boats glide above underwater canyons, and 30-foot squid ferry their huge eyes through the cold dark. Just the vision of the U-boat and the giant squid in the darkness in that time. It's just, I just thought that was a brilliant sentence. A brilliant visual. Number 7. The trilobites flourished in the oceans before going extinct in the Permian mass extinction. Who is a writer that will not produce any more work and that you believe was influential but is now sadly neglected? I think more of you all need to read Showa, A History of Japan by Shigeru Mizuki. There are 4 of these manga series, and they go through World War II and then beyond, so reconstruction of Japan, I guess you would say, after World War II. And they are just, I feel like they're a really important work. They're written by a Japanese author and illustrator who himself was in World War II. So this is a memoir of, his early years and then his years through the war and then beyond becoming an illustrator and manga author. And then the other half is kind of a history book of this time period. So yeah, this is brilliant. I think it's important. I've said it before, but I really like to read history books. I like to read history from perspectives of other nations. And yeah, it's very even-handed. So, it doesn't glorify anyone or anything. But yeah, highly recommend these. Definitely. Sad to say, Shigeru Mizuki has passed on, but I'm very thankful for him leaving these brilliant tomes with us. Number 8, is there an arthropod that you are afraid of or concerned about? Yes. I have a severe phobia of ticks. And that's very traumatic for me because I love to take wildflower photos. So, yeah, I do it, I conquer this fear. And I apply preventative measures when going out in the field. Ticks, and I'm allergic to them. They make me itch for 3 or 4 months after the fact. It's terrible. My sister, though, she's a nurse, and I'm at 17 minutes, quit rambling. But she's told me that I need to put antibiotic cream on them because you actually get a bacterial colony beneath your skin flourishing down there for 3 or 4 months, apparently, in my flesh. I shudder. I shudder at the thought of this parasite leaving parasites in me. Moving on. Anyway, I did want to highlight another interesting book and a topic for concern is Tom Brokaw's The Greatest Generation. That word great, bless. That word has kind of been ruined for me. But when you hear the concept of Make America Great Again, and you wonder, what do you mean by that? You know who you is. I think this is probably what might be considered the glory days that he is referring to. But I would like to highlight this very insightful section of this, which, no doubt there are great moments in this time period and great people who rose up to the occasion, but there is also this shame. And you can't look at one without the other, and I mean both of those things. Can't erase history on either side. Okay, so the World War II years will forever be testimony to America's collective and individual resistance to tyranny, its awesome and ingenious industrial machinery, and what may be its greatest strength, the common values of its richly varied population when faced with a common threat. Any celebration of America's strengths and qualities during those years of courage and sacrifice, however, will be tempered by the stains of racism that were pervasive in practice and in policy. As it was an era of great glory for America and its people, it was also indisputably a time of shame. So, and then he highlights many people who were disenfranchised during that time, but still rose to the occasion and served despite what they were put through by our nation. So yes, I very much enjoyed reading this and really appreciated Tom Brokaw's perspective and his including that chapter. And number 9, ending on a high note, some arthropods like the butterfly undergo an extraordinary metamorphosis. The fully grown butterfly soars over the ground that the caterpillar scuttles across. What is a work that opened your mind and helped it take flight? So, brilliant segue with Tom Brokaw. The Last Thing You Surrender by Leonard Pitts Jr. I came across this because of Dee Dee from Brown Girl Reading, and this was the read Soul Lit in the spring, and it was fabulous. It was so good. This is World War II, written from the African American perspective. Very even-handed, very comprehensive in showing racism and service during that time. Highly recommend. More people need to read this, definitely. So, thank you so much for watching, and I will link everyone below, including Dee Dee, and bugs to come. I'll see you soon. Bye.
I'm in my favorite pasture for some wildflower photography and buggy videography for the Arthropod challenge, and I am prepared. Bug spray and, you know, tucked in ankles and waistline because I have a major tick phobia. Please don't let me get any today. Please. Also, I'm allergic. They itch for 3 to 4 months. So, when I do get bit. Here we go. Okay, I think we all know how I feel about bees, especially the bumble variety. But we have a honeybee here as well. How special is that? On the milkweed, because everybody loves the milkweed. Oh my. This is a morning at the bar. Oh, look at their little noses. Oh my goodness. Look at them. Wow. Ooh, there you go. It's a little too early in the morning for this kind of action. I don't know if this is an arthropod prompt or not, but it should be. There you go. Bugs making babies. You know, it's high summer when the cicadas start singing. Oh, yes. There she is. Swallowtail. Ooh. An outing wouldn't be complete without a little something special for Heidi. Where'd it go?